Welcome back to On a Friday. It's episode 7. I'm Matt. I'm here with my boy Andrew, who picked the album this week. This week he picked Silent Alarm by Block Party, and we're really excited to discuss. Oh wait, sorry, that's not right. It's Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix by the band Phoenix. I don't know why I got that.
Yes.
Don't know why I
I
got that confused.
I love Silent Alarm so much I picked it again, even though I
Yeah,
said my thoughts on it. You know what? I have to say,
sorry. It's just
welcome.
the albums appeared so similar that I couldn't tell them
What?
apart.
What the fuck are you on? You
What do you mean?
sound. They are absolutely different. I don't know
What
what
do
the
you
fuck
mean?
you're on about. Oh, they're the same.
What do you
They're the
mean?
same.
I'm not on about anything.
Oh yeah, you're on something. You're on something, I'll
I'm on
say.
water.
You're on thin ice, buddy. Thin ice. You're on black ice. Anyway, what's going on in life?
I have a job. I said this last week, but I've done the job now. I'm a mover. I move stuff. I move people's things out of their place of residence and I put them in a truck. And then sometimes I move things from a truck to the people's place of residence.
Wow, sounds like Silent Alarm.
What do you
Boring.
I brought this on myself. uh is that it? I think
Is it? I
I
can't
think
tell.
that's
I can't
it.
talk for you.
Yeah, not a
All right.
super eventful week, but got some things going on. I have another job in the morning. It's not every day, but it's every now and then. And then
Hmm.
in the morning, I gotta get up and go frickin' move some stuff for some people.
Sounds good. Well, like the high points of Silent Alarm, I was also working on music for the past week, and it's getting there. It is getting there. It's definitely starting to show its problems with working on a song every day, but still fun. I'd say. So that's kind of what I've been doing, still. But yeah, let's talk about the news.
News, all right.
News: LCD Sound System is on full hiatus now. Anyway, they should definitely play the Madison Square Garden again and do a somewhat goodbye tour.
At that one location, a whole
Yes, that
ass
one
goodbye
location because
tour,
that's where they did
a
the
one
goodbye
show
the
goodbye tour.
yeah the goodbye tour. Even though it's one show. The War on Drugs announces a new album, I Don't Live Here Anymore, which will be out on October 29th. Claro releases new album titled Sling. Eve Tumor released a new EP titled The Asymptomatic World. Bad Bad Not Good with a new album, Talk Memory, out October 8th. Anyway, Matt, what do you have to say about the news?
Frickin' everyone's releasing albums these days. Frickin' John Mayer released an album. Frickin' Willow released an album. Pop Smoke, the rapper who died last year, I want to say. Yeah, there's a posthumous album, and it's got a whole bunch of features on it. We got Dua Lipa on it, we got Kanye West on it, we got Pharrell on it, we got a ton of people on it. And of
Holy
course,
shit.
the Foo Fighters
The
released a new
f-
album called Hail
Wait,
Satan,
what? They did?
spelled
How did I not
S
know about this?
well, I'm going to tell you why you don't know about it. Called Hail Satan, spelled Satin. And they released it not under the name Foo Fighters, but under the name DGs. It features
That's
several covers of Bee Gees songs and one Andy Gibb song, as well as 5 versions of some songs from their last studio album released back in February.
dear God.
Yeah, I mean, I heard their version of "You Should Be Dancing" by the Bee Gees. It's pretty good. It's really good if you want like
I
heavier disco era Bee Gees songs.
I will take a listen. I hope it's as good as Wasting Light.
There's a new series on Hulu called McCartney 321 in which Paul McCartney and Rick Rubin, the producer, go through a bunch of like old songs in Paul McCartney's back catalog between Beatles songs, not even just Paul McCartney Beatles songs, but all Beatles songs, not all, but a lot of Beatles songs that anyone wrote or sang on. And they like break it down and like look into like different like tracks of them, and they even cover some like solo Paul stuff too and some stuff he did with Wings. And it's very interesting. I watched all 6 episodes of it last night. It's on Hulu. It's very good.
Ah, interesting.
Normani, formerly of Fifth Harmony, released a new song, Wild Side, featuring Cardi B, and there's a video for it as well. Big Time Rush! Big Time Rush is doing a reunion with concerts in Chicago and New York. Just completely out of the blue. It's happening.
I feel like the 2012s should have stayed back in the past. Their music was never
Hey,
good.
hey, fuck you. Big Time Rush hit.
No,
Big Time Rush
more
kinda
like
hit.
big time waster.
You're so rude.
I don't like them.
It's fine. And on some unfortunate news, Biz Markie, the singer and rapper known for the song Just a Friend, unfortunately passed away at the age of 57. But to lighten the mood a bit before we jump into the album, the final piece of news. Olivia Rodrigo visited the White House this week to encourage young people to get their COVID vaccinations. And at risk of making the same jokes that everyone else already has, she said that getting the vaccine is good for you because getting COVID is brutal. And if the US has to move forward with such a low vaccination rate, we'll be taking one step forward and three steps back, and we'll get deja vu to how things were last summer. But she also said to the unvaccinated, I hope you're okay.
I fucking hate you.
I do too. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that joke took fucking 6 steps back. No steps forward.
I couldn't
All right,
help
let's fucking
myself.
talk about this album.
Go for it, dude. What the
All
hell
right.
is Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix? Isn't that a classical music composer?
No. I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
Mozart.
What the fuck is a Mozart?
You're right. Wolfgang Amadeus is completely an original name that the band Phoenix came up with.
Anyway, I don't know. I only know Wolfgang Amadeus Phoenix. Released in 2009, recorded in 2008. It was self-produced alongside with Philippe Zadar. And this had 3 singles: 1901, Lisztomania, and Lasso. All I would say are juggernauts of songs.
Okay.
Fuck you. I know I can tell where this is going.
So who is Phoenix? Last week you concluded by saying that we're gonna do pop right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so let's hear it. Who is Phoenix?
Phoenix was a French artist where their guitarist was friends with the duo of Daft Punk, and they had a
Really?
band named Darlin.
Hell yeah. I didn't know that.
But as all things would go, Daft Punk are a duo, and the guitarist is a part of Phoenix.
Yes.
They had collaborated once in a live show around 2010, where Daft Punk showed up as like a surprise guest. But other than that, Phoenix has released a couple albums, but none as acclaimed as this one. I
Yes,
would
this is
say.
their 4th album, as far as I could find out, and it actually won a Grammy for Best Alternative Music Album in 2010.
Yes, a pop album.
Now, you told me they were a French indie pop band,
Yeah,
but they're also like kind of alternative rock, I guess. Although that
yeah,
that label kind of is meaningless these days, but
yeah. But it is indie pop.
but it's also alt rock.
Yeah, I would say that this album has played a relatively big part in my life. I would say for a couple of reasons that I'm probably not going to go into, but it's obvious considering the context of the entire fucking album. Welcome to another album where any connections tied to relationships kind of don't end well.
It's a breakup album.
It is not a okay, whatever. It's about people,
It is about people, you're right.
but sometimes shitty people.
Yes. Like Mozart. I'm just kidding. Not Mozart. Like Franz Liszt.
I have no idea who the fuck that is.
Looks like I'm gonna be carrying this episode.
Okay, all right.
And I'd never heard of this album.
Good, good. You're gonna carry an album that you don't know, and you know what? Just like Slippery When Wet, I'm probably gonna be the only one that likes this album.
I mean, I've already hinted at some animosity, but I wouldn't say I'm as against this as you
Okay.
were against Slippery When Wet.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm also
Well,
not sure that you're. I mean, you might be as for this as I was for Slippery When Wet. So I don't know. I don't know what the juxtaposition's going to be like this time around.
well, I don't know. We still haven't talked about anything yet.
It's
So
gonna be a
you know what?
surprise.
Should we move into the album?
Sure.
All right. Track 1, Lisztomania.
Lisztomania, the second single, refers to the massive following of romanticist composer Franz Liszt. That's who I was talking about earlier, from the 1800s. But the song actually criticizes this kind of mass hysteria over one artist or style because of how fleeting it is.
I did not know that.
Do you not even question what the fuck Listomania meant?
I did at one point, and then I forgot. I'm
Great.
not even fucking with you.
Great.
It's been a long time. I didn't like. I just listened to the album. I knew it did have something to be tied with a person based off of my memory, but I didn't look too far into it. I literally just okay. This is a problem. I've listened to this album so many times, and I enjoy this album. It's like one of my favorites, I would say, just like Silent Alarm.
Interesting.
But I feel like discussing this album is probably going to be the same way that Silent Alarm is. But I have more positive things to say about this album because this is the only album that I like all the tracks in it.
Hold on. Let's back up with that statement. Not only do
I
you like every track, but this is the only album of
The
like
only
anything that you
no, the
like
only
every track
album
on.
from them where I can
Oh,
listen to all
from
the
Phoenix.
tracks.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah, no, that'd be fucking crazy.
I'd be like, this is the only album that you consider not
Oh yes,
perfect but
forget the
consistent.
Beatles, forget Daft Punk's Discovery, forget all that shit. I don't want.
Later, I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that because I want to know what Beatles albums you think are perfect.
Okay, well,
But that's for
Revolver.
that's for another time.
Anyway, Lisztomania. I feel like the song has hooks for years. Playing this on guitar is incredibly fun. Entered my rotation of songs I'd practice to.
I think it has very, very 80s energy, but not in like the same way that everyone else does it. I think that making something sound quote unquote 80s has lost like all meaning. And just like anything remotely retro that doesn't go full on disco is called 80s vibes, even when that's not really the
Yeah.
case. This is different from that, and I think in a good way. Like I particularly like what the instrumental does before, during, and after the bridge with the drums and keyboards changing up the upbeat guitar riff that goes on in the rest of the song. Also, this song was apparently in the video game Life is Strange 2.
Great. Pop music.
Pop music.
Track number 2. 1901.
1901, the first single, and arguably the most recognizable thing from this band, as far as I can tell.
The song was everywhere. I had tried avoiding it as long as I could. But at some point, I had heard it again. And when I had heard it again, I'd realized why the song was everywhere. It's the fucking chorus, man.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I mean, musically, it's very similar to the last track, for better or worse. And, like, thematically, like what the songs are about, so far, this is very abstract.
Well, all the lyrics I think in this album were way more abstract than the last Phoenix album. That's like what I
Which
can say
I
for
have no
certain.
frame of reference for.
Exactly. So I will say this about the lyrics. They're abstract and they continue to be abstract.
But like, yeah, musically it's very similar to the last one, but without that cool bridge effect. And also, this vocalist really likes singing two-word phrases over and over again.
Yeah? I just
Yeah,
realized. Okay, well
not to
there's
like
a
an
comment I can
annoying
talk about.
degree. It's just it's recognizable. Like, man, like saying "duet" over and over and "fold it" over and over.
Yeah? Do you have a problem with that?
Not only two songs in.
Yes.
Not only two songs in, but if it remains a trend, then I might.
Spoilers. Track 3, Fences.
Fences. You know what? I like this one. It's very funky, and the chorus is simple but easy to vibe to. I think the fade in and fade out at the start and end of the songs is a little abrupt. Like they had more song there, but they cut it short. But it's still a nice
Hmm.
little jam.
I had heard the demo for this song, or like a really rough sketch of it, and I thought, how the fuck did that demo get all the way over here? But I will say, out of all the songs, I feel like this is probably my least favorite out of all of them.
Really?
Yeah,
Man, we just look for very different things in songs, don't we?
probably. The fourth track, Love Like a Sunset,
Love
part
Like a
one.
Sunset,
We
part
gotta, we
one.
gotta, we gotta, we gotta clarify. It's a part one.
Yeah, it's a 5.5 minute instrumental.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
And I still think that it had surprisingly managed to find ways to not make the song sound the same throughout the entire track. And
Yeah.
I thought the second half was very good. Like the change to the second half
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very good.
yeah. I like how like in the first half there's that slow electronic build up that like adds new instruments as it goes. Like I think that's dope. And then halfway in, it turns into like a different song with like creepy distorted effects. But then it gets cool again with yet another build up. And it's still like very funky and despite being an instrumental, definitely the best song so far in my opinion.
It has a lot of movement for an instrumental track.
Oh yeah.
I thought that the chords used in the second half with the acoustics were great. And yeah, I agree. Like all this, the whole song up until the intro is amazing. And I had also attempted to kind of write something similar to this when I originally started writing my EP back in 2019.
And how'd that go?
Well, it's still good, but it never was finished.
I see.
The fifth track, Love Like a Sunset Part 2.
Why make these separate tracks if they were gonna be consecutive and this one's under 2 minutes?
Good point. I didn't want to include this as its own section because I feel like it's still connected to the last track. And I also wonder the same thing too.
It's
Why?
connected to the last track, like musically, but officially, it's its own track.
Yeah, I
You
felt like
know?
the band had managed to figure out Spotify before it was even popular.
See, and the thing, it's not even like, I mean, there's a bit of a like transition, but it also feels like part one ends and then part two begins, right? It doesn't go
Yeah.
right into, like, the melody doesn't go right into part two. So, like, I
No.
get why they're separate tracks, but I feel like it would be a better cohesive whole, like a nice, like, 6.5 minute song. Or
Yeah.
wait, no, it'd be like 7.5 minutes, goodness, if it was one big track, and that would be so freaking good, even though there's only vocals at the very end.
And besides, like the thing is that they both transition into each other, so it's like it's even more of a question at that point.
Yeah, I just
Like
think
why?
it's one of my least favorite things because I used to, before I used Spotify for everything, I would pirate music. God, just kill me now.
Yar.
I'd pirate music and just download MP3s from like YouTube to my phone because it's shockingly easy. And I would prefer if there were like songs that are supposed to transition into each other if it was just collected into one track. So I'd find a YouTube video where it's just one track that has it. But now that I want to be official and actually support the artists I enjoy and use Spotify, if I put these tracks that transition into each other into a playlist and then shuffle that playlist, they may play like out of sync, or like I'll get the second track first that just abruptly starts. Like you suddenly hear my Beatles playlist, you suddenly hear Billy Shears, and it's like, oh god, okay, we're doing with a little help from my friends, all right. Or like the end of Sergeant Pepper will just cut off, unless I actively turn on my phone, turn off the shuffle, and then turn it on after with a little help from my friends, and then I might repeat songs I've already heard because I'm reshuffling. I wish that more artists nowadays, especially when they do songs that are supposed to transition into each other, just make it one track.
Yeah, definitely. I had this problem whenever I wanted to put this on a playlist or something, and then I'd hear like the first part, and then I'd be like, okay, and I know that the second part's not gonna play, and it doesn't usually. The one time that it did, it left me in surprise, but that was a happy mistake.
Oh
I
my
just
god,
assumed.
yeah. If it's shuffled and you still get the sequential songs, you hit the jackpot. And
You really do.
you just get like a brief moment of satisfaction.
Yeah.
This is a very simple song about how love, like a sunset, is fleeting. And I think it kind of gives John Lennon vibes to some extent.
I did not hear John Lennon.
Just a little bit.
Track 6, Lasso.
The third and final single.
This song for me was on repeat in 2018. If I had a Spotify account back then, it probably would have ended up on my top songs of 2018, like the first track. I played it so much. I love the chorus to this song, and I feel like this song is as close as you could get to perfection. It doesn't have any low points, and it literally feels like a lasso. Listen, you son of a bitch, you don't say anything bad about it. Don't.
It just doesn't do anything for me. And I hate to say that because, like, I feel like this is the first thing in this whole podcast. We're in episode 7. This is the first song, the first album that you were just out here gushing over. And it just doesn't, this song in particular does nothing for me.
It's okay. It's all right to have a bad opinion. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah, I'll take it. My opinion's bad, but it's just like so far this single game has been really weak, and the rest of it has been strong, in my opinion. I just
That is
think
interesting.
the 3 singles, they're just the same song.
They're just the same song.
And if you like one of them, no wonder you like all 3 of them. But to me, they're the same song.
I'm gonna say this in terms of the 3 tracks, the 3 singles that were released. Lasso's my favorite. I don't give a shit about Lisztomania in that sense. Or 1901 as much.
They're the same song.
The 7th track, Rome.
Yes, Rome, which compares a relationship to the fall of the Roman Empire and the gradual rebuilding of the city of Rome.
Rome, 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 Rome. You know that
That's
thing
the
you
chorus.
noted earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you said that, I was like, oh god. Oh no.
Do you not like it?
No, I do like it. I think this song is on par with Fences, but a little bit better.
So, one of the lower songs for you.
Yeah, so 2,000 years remain in a trash can, you know?
I'm bemused that the instrumentation is so much better in the non-singles than in the singles.
You know what? I feel like song-wise, the non-singles kind of could be singles.
Yes, I agree.
Like this entire
Instead
album,
of the ones that are singles.
Listen, okay.
I know you disagree with that, but that's what I say.
Fences, here's what I think. Fences should have been single, Lasso should have been single, and Girlfriend should have been single.
I also have an opinion on that, but I'll save it.
All right.
Yeah, the electronic effect a minute and a half in makes the song way better, and then it comes back towards the end and overpowers the vocals for like a nice contrast from the rest of the song. Honestly, this is a great electronic rock song.
Track 8, Countdown. This is a countdown of how long it takes before I realize I did not get enough sleep, and I'm still restless. I'm sick, 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 sick. That pop albums can't get on this caliber. This album,
You know how I can tell this is a French band?
it's better than it looks.
No, because some of the lyrics on this album make no goddamn sense.
What do you mean? They
We're
all make
sick
sense.
for the big sun?
It's a idiom.
We're
No,
sick
wait,
for
that's
the
not even
big
an
sun.
idiom. Okay, I have no idea. Hey, look, listen. Do you go outside, stare at the sun? Though you know what? That'd probably be a lot
Only
more.
during eclipses.
That would make more sense when you try to explain it to somebody.
But yeah, I mean, I took a theater class a couple. Was it? It was probably about a year ago. Yeah, because it was like that was a semester like when COVID hit. Yeah, so like a little over a year ago. It was a theater class that mostly dealt with like dialects and accents and
Hmm.
stuff, and like figuring out how to like do them right, not appropriating. And
Yeah.
so the last thing we had to do for that class, our final, was like picking a monologue from a show that had a dialect. And my dialect I chose was Swedish. I learned how to do a Swedish accent, or Swedish dialect, I should say. And
Did it work?
I did okay. I probably could have put more prep time into it, but it worked. But what I picked, because I was like, let's pick something and see if there actually are things that exist in this dialect. I picked a translated play, a play that was translated from Swedish. And one of the comments I got one of the first times I did the monologue for my professor was like, he could tell that it was translated because of like how certain words, like how certain phrases sounded. Like the wording was it wasn't just like how like old English, like Shakespeare and stuff is like kind of weird with its wording. It just like some stuff was like, that's a weird way to say that. And I feel like there's a bit of that on this album. Just saying things in a really weird way.
The thing is, though, is that all of their albums have been English for the most part.
Yeah. But you can tell that they're from a French-speaking country, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
You can tell that in their lyrics and how they say certain things, which isn't a problem. I don't have a problem with that. The repetition of the word sick makes it sound like he's saying the number 6 over and over. And I love unintended satanic messages in songs for the lunatics to get mad over. That's really fun. And I think this song does more for me than the singles because of the cool part at the end where the instruments get softer for a bit and then louder again, but it still doesn't do much for me.
If you were born in the 1980s, you'd be one of those people who'd like put the vinyl in reverse, look for satanic messages. Track 9, Girlfriend.
Talk about a song that doesn't go anywhere.
You motherfucker. But I will say, when I did re-listen to this, I had previously held Girlfriend and Lasso to a high standard, and then I realized, like, Girlfriend, I'm only in it for the chorus. That's it.
Interesting.
The build-up and then the chorus.
I'm sick of words and short phrases being repeated over and over. I'm sick of it.
Well,
I'm
don't
tired
worry.
of it.
We'll all die one day, and we will all succeed.
The keyboards in the song are very, like, spacey. They have spacey vibes, but I feel like the song doesn't have enough of a spacey feel to make that sound work.
I don't think it's supposed to be spacey.
It's not, but the keyboards sound like it. Like it's something I'd hear in a spacey song, but it's not a spacey song,
Track 10, Armistice.
The final track. This should have been a single.
I agree, but I also disagree.
Not because it's the best song on the album, but it feels as commercial as the singles, but less boring.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I don't feel like it's as commercial as those singles because.
Oh no, not as.
Okay.
Well, I did say I
feel like
but not quite as.
I still feel like this song is relatively unconventional with its songwriting compared to the other songs, but it still sounds like a pop song, quote unquote pop. We're putting that in quotes. This whole album is pop in quotes.
Doing pop right, huh?
But yeah, I would say that this concludes the album pretty well.
Yeah, the medieval organ sounds around 2 minutes in was neat.
I thought the outro was very good.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. That's it. There's no more album.
There's no more album.
What do we do? It's only 10 songs.
Well, there is something we do after we go through the tracks.
What are the album thoughts?
You told me we were gonna do pop right.
No. Okay, listen. Anytime I've said something, it has always been a lie. Why would I change it up?
When you said that, I expected a mainstream pop album that didn't have that plexiglass effect that you keep going on about. But this is just alt rock.
It won a Grammy.
This is just
for alternative music.
Yeah, because it's just alt rock. This felt like an album full of the weaker songs on Silent Alarm by Block Party.
The fuck are you on about?
Like, it does. Like at least Silent Alarm started with some batshit crazy loud songs living up to its post-punk revival genre name. But even Wikipedia marks this album as post-punk revival, and it just doesn't hit as
I
hard.
wouldn't call it post-punk. I'd call it indie pop.
It's indie pop, it's alt rock, it's post-punk revival. How can it be all three of those things? Because those things don't really mean
God,
anything.
God, oh my God. Wait until we do like a fucking Sweet Trip album. Then you'll be even more confused.
And like, look, I don't hate it. It's just this genre isn't for me. And I know that. And mainstream pop might not be for you, but let's not get genres confused.
Oh, don't worry. I'm just gonna hammer the same genre until
Great.
until it's beaten like a dead horse. And then eventually, maybe one day we'll find an album good enough worth talking about where both of us can agree it does something.
We did that for the first episode, The Stranger. We both liked that album a lot, and we've not done it since. Well,
Yeah,
except that we both hated Trout Mask a lot.
I mean, Trout Mask had one good song in it.
And we both felt very indifferent towards Silent Alarm a lot.
I will say that was a bit of a mistake.
But yet, I know that the words pop and indie, and especially alternative, don't really always mean anything anymore, but this is wildly different from anything I'd call pop. And frankly, I just found it rather uninteresting.
Yeah, I hate fun too. Anyway, enough being defensive. Enough being
No,
being
look. No, you can be
yeah.
defensive. You can be defensive all you want. I was defensive about Slippery When Wet. I was somewhat defensive about Sour. I was defensive about Born This Way. But like,
I listen. I'm
we
just
are
taking
we
the
are
piss.
getting used to each other's preferences, and I feel like getting through stuff like this now, where we feel wildly different about the quality of these albums. Not, I won't say quality, about our opinions on these albums.
Yeah.
Getting through it now will help us down the road pick better albums.
Okay, my thoughts about the album.
Yes.
I like it. And when I said it was like one of my favorite albums, I have a bunch of favorite albums. I
So do I.
wouldn't put this very high on my favorite album list, I would say. It's up there, but it's not super, super high. I felt like all the songs fit together. As for everything sounding the same, I wouldn't disagree, but at the same time, with a bunch of rock albums, I feel like there's always a bit of that. And the yearning for more variety, depending on whatever album you decide to listen to. Listen, you're not listening to a masterpiece that does that. You're listening to literally something that does it well enough throughout for most albums.
I should
I would say.
clarify. I don't think all the songs on this album sound the same. I think all the singles sound the same, plus the last one. I do think there's a lot of variety in the non-singles
Okay.
compared to some other albums we've covered, which have been pretty samey for the most part. Like I'd argue Silent Alarm is more samey than this.
Yeah.
But,
And
yeah.
so I will say, like, for this genre at least, my statement was very much kind of regarding that, where everything kind of feels the same somewhat.
That's
or
definitely
derivative
true.
of something else.
That's definitely true.
And because of that, like, keep in mind, like, at least my understanding of it is that we're not listening to fucking David Bowie's Black Star or fucking Radiohead's OK Computer. We're not listening to those.
Right now,
We're just listening to something that a band does very well throughout an entire album, and that is it. So, let's recommend a song.
Let's recommend a song. I'm going to recommend the song Objects in the Rearview Mirror May Appear Closer Than They Are by Meatloaf. I don't really like Meatloaf as a person, and I don't agree with his politics, but last week I listened to his albums Bad Out of Hell 1, 2, and 3, and I gotta be honest, they're all pretty great albums, and this song is a highlight from the second one. Just about how, like, tragedies from your past may appear like having happened more recently than they actually did, and it's a really good song.
My recommendation goes to Disco Crimson by CQ. It is incredibly good. Please listen to it. It's not very known, but it is very good. Well, that concludes the episode. Please go get yourself a nice drink of cold water. It is the summer, and
Yep.
don't drown.
That's our sponsor, water. Drink water.
Great value drinking water.
No, don't name an
Thank you,
actual
Walmart.
fucking brand. Don't name an
Thank you,
actual fucking
Walmart.
brand. We're not sponsored by Walmart. We can't say that. Can we? We can't say that.
Well, don't forget your lifesaver. See ya.